Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Your Biz Story. This is Tom Sabo, your host. Your Biz Story examines small business in Northeast Ohio. You'll meet the owner, learn about the business products and services offered, how the business got started, the challenges a business owner faces, and many other aspects of running a small business. Whether you're a consumer, business owner, or have thought about opening a business, you'll thoroughly enjoy today's podcast. All right, today is February 6th, 2026. This is episode number 26-3. Our guest today is Matt Gollini, and his company is Mentor iPhone Repair. Hi, folks. Welcome to today's episode of Your Biz Story. This episode, like the others, are where we talk to local business owners about the who, what, when, and what about their business, and try to learn a little bit more about the small businesses that are here in Northeast Ohio. This episode is produced at the Madison Public Library in quaint and historic Madison, Ohio. I'll start this off with a little story. My wife and I were vacationing during the spring several years ago down in Florida on the Gulf Coast. And there's a lovely pool there at the complex. So I told my wife I was headed down to the pool and took my towel and bottled water, head down to the pool, decided I'm going to take a jump in the pool, cool down a little. As I stepped off the edge of the pool, it dawned on me. My cell phone was in the pocket of my bathing suit.
Ooh, ouch.
Down in the water I go with my phone and popped to the surface, jumped out of the pool, and pulled my phone out to see the water running out of it. So fortunately, I was able to go to one of the Apple stores down there, and they looked it over and got it up and running. But, and then I don't know how many times you hear people will say that they are absolutely lost without their phone.
Right.
People will say that they feel naked without their phone. So that kind of prompted me to want to have Matt come in. Now, I've known Matt for about 10 or 12 years. His business is Mentor iPhone Repair. Now, is it Mentor iPhone Repair or Mentor iPhone Repair and Computer?
Well, we are going to slowly start morphing into changing the name a little bit because we do a lot more than that.
Okay.
So
all right.
I initially called it Mentor iPhone Repair because it's all I worked on.
That's all you were doing. Yes.
And then after a little while, one of my former techs came aboard, and he started working on the Android. So he took care of that. So then we started working on Android devices, and then just throughout the years, we started adding Android tablets, and then we started adding gaming machines, and then we started adding computers. So some of our Google listings will actually have the word computer in there. So we do a little bit of everything now.
So your business is located at 7745 Mentor Avenue in Mentor, Ohio. Okay. You spent 16 years in the automotive industry.
That's correct.
You held positions in sales, leasing, and financing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You graduated from Lakeland Community College with an associate's degree in marketing.
Yep.
Resident for 30 years in Mentor, and a member of multiple chambers of commerce. And I might want to touch on that a little later.
Sure.
Matt is married to his wife, Heather, and their favorite vacation spot is Las Vegas. You play a little.
Yes, she is the winner. I am the loser.
The loser?
But that's okay. Because of her, that's why we get to go a lot. So we get comped a lot.
Good. Well, Matt, welcome to Your Biz Story. And I think you've got an interesting story to tell. So you started in on about what is Mentor iPhone?
So what we do is we basically help you stay connected. I mean, that's really what we do.
Okay.
And I also tell people, we're not in the repair business, we're in the people business. And we really like to help people stay connected. We like to solve your problems. A lot of that is, yes, repairing your devices, whether it's a phone, which is most of it, your tablet, your computer, your
Okay.
gaming machine. Also,
Okay.
when you get a new device, which most people who have an Apple product, usually in late fall, September is when new Apple products come out. So, what's the first thing you do? You're going to get a screen protector, you're going to get a case, you're going to get a new charge cord, adapters for charging, that sort of thing. So everybody knows to come to me for all that stuff. A lot of your newer Android handsets usually come out, I want to say right around
Okay.
February-ish. So we don't have a lot of accessories for those, but we can help you with charging and that sort of thing. So we have full accessories for all of those things. We do a lot of troubleshooting, virus removal, that sort of thing, which is mainly on Android devices. We do help out with that. Today I did a couple of data transfers. If you're not sure how to move
Yeah.
data from your old device to your new device, we're more than happy to help you out with that. We have a small charge for that. I did a couple of those this morning before I came out this way. Any general questions on how to use your device? We do, because there's a lot of people who have the old flip phones and they're graduating to smartphones. So there's a lot of people who have those. So
They're still out there, huh?
they're still out there. Yep. So we're more than happy to help you with that transition. Which is why we have about 100 pre-owned devices in stock. So if you don't want to go with a brand new device, if you're intimidated with going into carrier stores or whatever, you don't want to have that big expense, you're more than welcome to come in and purchase a pre-owned device, and then you can go and do a prepaid plan or whatever, and attach that plan to one of our pre-owned devices that we have in stock. So we can help you out with that as well.
Okay.
So we're pretty much a full service electronics retailer and repair shop, basically
Okay.
in a nutshell is what we do.
All right. Well, this all had to start somewhere, sometime, somehow.
Yes.
So tell us the story about how you got started.
So I still remember it was a Tuesday afternoon. I spent a lot of time in the car business, and it just got to the point where it just wasn't fun. And if it's not fun anymore, um, you know, it's just, you just have to do something else. Then you start to, like, I don't know. I don't want to say slack at your job, but I just couldn't put my 100% into it anymore, and I just wasn't looking forward to going to work anymore. So I read an article in Entrepreneur magazine about some young kid who broke his iPhone 3G, and he was looking for a way to fix it, because at that time I don't believe they were even fixing them; they were just swapping out handsets or whatever. So he found a supplier for the parts. He came up with an idea to supply you with the part, selling you a course on how to fix it, which was a couple $1,000s. At that time, I
Wow.
just didn't have the extra money. So I'm like, well, how about I just figure it out myself? As a kid, I tinkered and I took stuff apart, locked myself in my room, took stuff apart without my parents finding out, and put them back together. Just kind of see how I can figure this out without having to pay for the courses. Because back then there were no YouTube videos. iFixit wasn't around. All these sorts of things that we could look up at nowadays didn't exist. So I bought a couple of broken 3G iPhone 3Gs online. I bought the parts from this gentleman that back then they were really, really inexpensive. I think they were like $8 or $9 a piece for a digitizer, and I figured it out. Then I bought a fishing tackle box. I put all the little parts and pieces and tools in there, and I put my first ad on Craigslist, and the phone rang one day. I still remember, I don't remember the gentleman's name. I remember him and his daughter showing up at back then I lived in a condo, and I turned my living room into a waiting area. I had magazines out and everything. And I went upstairs, and I'm like, I'll be back down in a half an hour. And I fixed his phone. And back then it was a very different procedure to fix those. And I still remember it was like $35 for a digitizer replacement. And that's where it started. But then everybody was a fixing a phone out of your basement kind of person.
Yep.
There's really no stores around for the most part. And then there was a store that opened up in Mayfield and whatnot. And that's literally how it started, Craigslist ads. And then it started to get kind of busy. And then it was meeting people at, fast food restaurants on my days off.
You would meet your customer at a fast
At a
food
fast food
restaurant.
restaurant, we would meet kind of back away from everybody, close to like where the bathrooms were. And I would fix your device, and money would exchange hands and whatnot. And then it got a little bit busier. Then I would meet you after hours. And then let's just say I exited the auto industry. And that morning it was a Thursday. And then 3 hours later, I was driving out to Concord to fix like an iPod Touch, and just kind of ran with it from there. And little by little, going to people's houses, going to restaurants, bars, even people's homes, places of work. You name it, I was there. And then I got an interesting email. Someone found me on Craigslist, and they're like, well, I have a phone that needs to be fixed, and I got some good news and some great news. I'm like, well, what is that? And they're like, well, we need it fixed, but we want you to fix it on television. So next thing you know,
Really?
I'm downtown fixing a phone on live television. And as I'm sitting there being interviewed, my phone is ringing like crazy in my pocket. And so right after that, I was out fixing phones all over the neighborhood, and that's where it really skyrocketed. And then I wound up finding a place in the Polo building, and that's when I officially opened like my storefront.
Let's back up to that for a little
Mhm.
bit. So you're fixing phones out of your condo, you're going to people's houses, you're meeting them
Mhm.
at a fast food restaurant. How did you make the decision to say, I need like a storefront, or I need a brick and mortar place?
It was just getting to be too much going to like restaurants and whatnot. There's a little bit of liability doing that as well.
Yeah,
Plus, uh, you're not paying to be there, so they kind of frowned upon that after a little while.
yeah.
And you can only work out of your toolbox so much.
So,
So I'm like, yeah. And then people were starting to question as it was getting busier, like, are you legit? Because you're showing up with a toolbox. I'm like, I get it now. And I just happened to be driving past what is now Platinum Center building, the Polo building, and I saw a sign that said lease is starting at like $250 a month. And I'm like, I can. So I hurried up, pulled in the parking lot, jotted down the phone number, made a phone call. 2 weeks later, I was in there, which started off as one unit turned into 5 units.
well, were you still working in the car biz
No,
at
I had
this time?
exited the car business at that time.
Okay.
Yep.
So you basically were out in the biz world with the idea you either made it or you got another job.
Yes. Yes. So that was very, very tough. One little thing to add in there is to fill the gap a little bit. I did get my insurance license, and I was selling insurance for Aflac for the morning portion. And then in the late afternoon, early evening, I was fixing phones. So I
Okay.
was doing that side by side. Insurance business just wasn't for me. And then as it was getting busier, I'm like, you know what? I think this is now going from a hobby and like what would be now called a side gig.
Side gig.
I can basically put my foot on the gas and go full bore with this thing, and it just blew up. And that's it. And then from the Polo building to renting out the entire back of the building to my current location.
Why do you think it blew up? What do you think was happening?
I I think the popularity of the devices, how many people have them, the fact that the people want to keep them. They don't necessarily want to. They're not disposable, like maybe like the flip phones were a bit way back when. They want to keep their devices, and I believe that our customer service, we do a great job of helping you. And if you look around, there's like the Radio Shacks are gone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
there's not a lot of places you can go to have things like this done. I believe that the customer service and the things that we offer, you really can't get anywhere else. And I've developed a huge customer base that rely on me and my team to take care of you in all sorts of aspects of what we do, that we're really needed in the community, and that is what keeps us going.
Okay.
And so I think that's why, and it keeps growing every single year. We were up quite a bit over last year
Great.
in business, which is good. And we asked people, how'd you hear about us? Oh, well, a friend of a friend of a friend told us that you
Yeah.
guys do great work, and so that's why we're here. Which that's a huge compliment. So and it just
And
keeps going.
that's the way you
So
want to build a
yeah.
business.
Mhm.
Now, I think everybody knows that every few months when you turn around,
Mhm.
Apple's got another device. The Androids are bringing, Google's got a phone out
Yep.
there.
Mhm. Yep.
How do you stay on top of all that?
We belong on Facebook. There's probably a couple of dozen groups for our community. You just got to pay attention to that stuff. You just have to be online. There's a couple of guys, Mac Rumors, which actually he is located, believe it or not, he's in Lake County. So his office is in Lake County. That is here in Lake County,
You're
Ohio.
kidding.
Yes. You would think
I've
that's
seen his videos.
yeah, you would think that's out of California or New York or something. He is actually right here in Lake County. His name is Dan. So he's been to my store, actually. So really, really great guy. And I listen to his videos and whatnot, read his articles. So the Facebook groups, just being involved in what is new and out there. You just have to pay attention, really. That's it. And then occasionally I'll go to the Apple store and I'll take a peek on what's new, or you go to Best Buy and just poke around and say, oh, okay, well, this is the new Samsung that's out. This is the new the Apple stuff I know, but just to see what is out there. I go to 2 conventions a year. The next one I'm going to is second week of May. It's in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and they'll talk about some of this stuff, but the new ways of repairing things, new tools that are out there to let us do our jobs easier. I just purchased a $2,000 machine. Everyone thinks rice is what you use to fix water damage. That's not what you use at all to fix water damage.
I found that out.
Yeah, so right. So I have a machine that I purchased from a convention that I went to in Miami Beach last year. And this machine has helped us immensely suck the moisture out of devices to bring them back to life. And the success rate is like 90%. Didn't have that before. So
Wow.
this has been fantastic. So I go to conventions to bring us up to speed. We may actually start doing electric scooter repair, because
Really?
why? They had a class on how to fix them. And they're like, oh, it's easy. These are the top 3 things that go wrong. This is where you can get parts from. And next thing you know, a couple of my friends just said, oh yeah, I bought electric scooters. Might need a repair or tire replacements or electronic board for speed control replacements. I'm like, well, we might actually add that to some of the things that we fix. So there's 2 conventions a year that I go to, one in May and one in August. So things like that are super important for us to go to. And then we are going to be offering 2 different types of cell phone insurance. There's webinars and podcasts and Zoom calls, 2-3 times a week that I listen in on. So that's how you stay on top of stuff. So my days are very full with all that sort of thing.
Speaking of the training side of your business, do you do any tutoring, counseling, coaching, instruction?
Unfortunately, I don't have the time to do that sort of thing. Me and Chris, we are extremely busy. The second that door opens at 9 o'clock, we are very, very busy with customers. So right now we just don't have time for that sort of thing to teach anybody how to do what we do. Because him and I, we run extremely busy and extremely lean, because our days are very full with jobs every single day. So right now we don't have any time for that sort of thing. Maybe in the future, because eventually we are going to have to add another person, and we're going to have to figure that out to teach someone. So, but again, with some of the online training that's available through Cellbotics and a handful of other, like you can either do online training or we can send you out for training when that time does come.
Now, I know the Apple Store, they do a really nice job of training.
Yes, they do.
But when you look at, I'll say, the market population here in the Lake County area, because like for me, it's 40 minutes to get down to the Apple Store. So so if I go down, it's got to be important.
Right. What we do is, let's say if someone, like I talked earlier, is coming from a flip phone, and they say, hey, my sibling, my husband, my wife, my kids want me to get a smartphone, and it's completely brand new to you. yes, we're not going to sell you the phone
Mm-hmm.
and send you out the door. I will give you a quick tutorial on
Okay.
how to
Yeah.
use it. Of course, I'm going to do that. Also, in all iPhones, there's a tips app, looks like a little light bulb. That light bulb knows what phone it's attached to, and it'll tell you all the tips and tricks on how to use that specific device.
Hmm.
But yes, I will show you the basics on how to
Yeah.
turn it on and off, make a phone call, send text messages, use the browser, check your emails, use Facebook, the camera, the basic stuff that most people use. Of course, we
Yeah.
show you how to do that stuff. Every pre-owned device comes with screen protector, the appropriate charger, things like that. We show you, what cases we have and all that sort of thing. But yeah, we give you the quick tutorial for the simple things before you leave. Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Good.
Mhm.
You may have covered some of it, but what are the challenges?
The biggest challenges are two different things. Not everybody will do things when I talk about other repair shops. I want to say the right way. That's not the right thing to say. Let's just say there's certain standards that I hold our store to, which are extremely high standards. Not everybody sees it that way. So there are other repair shops that don't use the best parts, so that causes major functionality differences in your phone. So,
Really?
and we have 100% transparency. So if you say that you want the best quality part, then we have the ability to give you an official Apple part. Yes, it's going to cost the most money. If you want a part that is strictly for data only, we will use the least expensive part, but we will be 100% transparent and say this is for very short-term use, this is for data only, and the pricing will be the least amount, but you're going to get the least amount of functionality out of that specific part. And we will explain this up front before we do the repair and before we take your money, of course. There are certain places that will go for the cheapest route first, so they make the most amount of money off of you, and then those are the ones that always have the biggest problems with their device. So we don't do things that way. There's a motto that we have in our store as soon as you walk in, and it says I believe it says the I believe it's like the sweetness of the best price will.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's something along
Yeah.
something along those lines. Basically, we prefer to go with the better quality over the better price, if that makes sense, because cheap isn't good and good isn't cheap. That's with anything, anywhere you go, whether it's a
Yeah.
restaurant, car dealership, what we do, anywhere you go. That's
Yeah.
just how it is. So we prefer to make sure that your phone is functioning at its best performance, before you leave. And we use the best parts we could possibly get our hands on. We have lifetime warranty on all of our parts, as long as it's not damaged at all. So not everybody is held to the same standards, because there is no like standardized way to run a repair shop. It's all up to the owner and how you want to run it.
Yeah.
So, and there's a certain way I do it.
So aside from that, what else do you
Um,
see?
the other thing is these devices, they're getting more sophisticated, and the parts are getting more expensive. And it's just the way it is, unfortunately, which means that the cost of repair is getting a lot higher. I mean, the first phone I worked on was a $35 repair, and the part was $8. I just fixed 17 Pro the other day. The repair cost was $499 for the repair,
Wow.
and the part was over $400. So it was very expensive, but it was an official Apple part. And the phone technically didn't do anything different than that original phone did. So the parts are extremely expensive because of the higher resolution displays. Of course, it's a larger display and a couple other factors, but the part cost is getting higher. The basic procedure on the phones isn't any different than it ever was. It's all the same. But the part cost is getting extremely high because of the technology. So that is the biggest challenge is the part cost. And back in the day, you can get a new phone for a couple $100 every other year with your upgrade. Now, people don't see that phone costs $1,500. They see that their bill went up $10 a month. So it throws off what you think the value of your phone
Yeah.
really is. So
Yeah.
when we tell you that your phone repair could be, let's say, $200 a month with a high quality aftermarket screen, they still think that their phone only costs $10, but it really isn't. You
Yeah.
still paid probably $1,200 for that phone. So it's hard, to explain and justify what the repair cost is. So that's the biggest challenge.
Do you think there's anything else going on in the part costs aside from just, is it all technology driven, or do you think there's
Um,
some other marketing goals that are behind that?
It's really hard to say. I mean, I know there was obviously the whole tariff thing going on, increased the part costs a little bit. There was an issue about a year ago with iPhone 15 displays. They said raw material costs were sky high, so they were extremely hard to get. Like I had to buy 50 screens at a time. That was a ridiculous amount of money, but you had to, or else you were going to go a month or two without getting them. You just had to do it. So, other than that, I don't believe there's anything like, oh, the part cost is high because they want you to buy. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not. It's just,
Yeah.
But a lot of people want to keep their phones longer because the technology and what your phone does isn't getting more advanced. I always tell customers you can only re-engineer a rectangle so many times. So, you can only do so much with the camera. You can only do
Yeah.
so much with a battery, and that seems to be the only major things are changing. Your processor. If I put two phones, whether it's an Android or an Apple product, 5 years apart, most people won't know the difference after a full day of using them. You won't know the difference. So,
Okay.
but
Okay.
people are also used to new devices every single year, so that's going to be a pattern that will probably never change. So,
People are getting new phones every year?
a lot of people are, and the
Wow.
manufacturers are making new phones every single
Yeah.
year. So.
I think we just updated a few months ago, and my gosh, the phones we upgraded from had been paid off for quite a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay. So Matt, if people wanted to get in touch with you, can they go to your website?
Yes, mentoriPhoneRepair.com.
Okay.
You can call us at 440-525-5705. There are two lines that come in case the first line is busy. You can stop at our store. So Mentor Avenue is a pretty long road. So
Yeah.
easiest way is we're right across the street from Olive Garden, and we're right between Taco Bell and Starbucks. You cannot miss us.
Okay.
We're in the plaza with Cirillas and House of Smokers.
Okay.
We're open every day except for Sundays. You can find us on Facebook. Again, Mentor iPhone Repair. We're working on a little bit more social media. Eventually, we'll be on TikTok. We'll have a bigger presence on Instagram. I'm working on that sort of thing. It's the easiest way to find us.
Okay.
I try to
Good.
do a lot of outreach through all the chambers. So occasionally I bop around to other businesses, the carrier stores, to pass out coupons. You might see my coupons floating around for $10 off screen repairs and that sort of thing. So I try to get out there as much as I possibly can. So, but a lot of people know me in the neighborhood. I can't go anywhere without someone saying hi to me. So I'm pretty easy to find. So,
That's good though.
Yeah.
That's good though. Well, Matt, I want to thank you for coming by.
thanks for having me.
Again, I think you have an interesting story. The work that you do, I've been into your store. I've used your services, and I tell everybody to pop in and say hello whenever possible.
I appreciate it.
So, I want to encourage our listener out there, the one or two of you, to stop in to Matt's store, Mentor iPhone on Mentor Avenue in Mentor, and say hello to Matt, and take a broken iPhone to him.
Yeah, come check us out.
Have him fix it up
Yeah.
for you.
Or even just come by and just
Browse.
browse around. I mean,
Browse
that's totally
around.
fine. We have a little bit of everything. So.
Okay. All right. I would like to remind everyone that if you're interested in other episodes here on Your Biz Story, they will be on such places as Spotify, Pandora, Apple. We're working on that as we go at this present time. So, Matt, I want to thank you for
Thanks for
stopping
having me.
by. And folks, remember, it's mentoriPhoneRepair.com. And I want to thank the folks here at Madison Public Library. Please stop in and say hello to the folks here, or you can check them out online at madison-library.info. So, for those of you that tuned in, thank you very much. Glad to have you, and stay tuned, and we'll be back in a week or two with more excitement in the Northeast Ohio business world. Thanks a lot.